Hello and welcome to a very special simulcast issue of the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast and the Listing Agent Lifestyle podcast. Now, if you've been listening to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast, you know that my two favorite things in life are marketing and real estate. And I love it when those paths cross. And today's one of those days. We've got a special guest, Michelle Garcia from Coeur, Idaho. And Michelle is a realtor looking to build some systems around cracking into the luxury market in Coeur d'Alene. She's had some success. She was listening to the I Love Marketing podcast and learned some strategies that she started applying in her business, put together a relocation guide and started finding all these buyers who were looking for homes in Coeur d'Alene and realized the reason I'm getting all these buyers is because that's who I'm trying to attract. So if I start thinking about how I can apply marketing to get what I want, which is listings, maybe it could do the same thing. And that's where we started our conversation. So I think you're really going to enjoy this one. So here we go. Michelle Garcia.
Dean Jackson.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I was thinking, how come he's not calling me? And then I remembered,
we got to record it. How are we going to have a podcast if we don't record it? That's funny.
So, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm super excited about this.
I am too. It's my favorite thing. So you know how it works. We're recording right now. We got the whole hour just for you and I. Where are you calling from right now? You're in Idaho?
So I'm in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is not the potato area of Idaho. We're not far from Spokane, Washington, about 30 or 40 minutes, and about 90 miles from the Canadian border.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. So tell me about how we got connected here and what we're going to focus on today.
So how we got connected is I came across you guys a few years ago, you guys being Joe Polish and yourself through I Love Marketing, through that podcast, which I can't say I've listened to all the episodes because there's quite a few.
There really are.
Oh my gosh. I've listened to so many. I mean, at least dozens, maybe 100. I don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And here and there, I've listened to a few of sorry for the dinging. I'm just getting out of my car here.
That's fun.
The Dan Sullivan podcast too. So.
Oh, cool. The Joy of Procrastination. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So when I don't remember how I connected directly with, I think I got an email or saw something on, I don't know, somewhere about this thing that you're doing.
About coming on the podcast. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
That's great. Well, I know you are, I got all the, your scorecard and stuff. So I see you are in real estate, which is my favorite.
Right. So I love that you have that background and you've been an agent. You kind of have been boots on the ground. I've heard a little bit about that part of your story. And so I feel like this is a good time for me to, kind of address some of what I'm doing and how to change things. I started a couple years ago in the biz, although I had invested back and forth, bought and sold properties for ourselves. And that's my husband and myself. We have 3 kids, and that was part of what motivated us to move from California, which is where we are both from, to northern Idaho to kind of have a slower pace of life, better quality of life, and all that. So the kids kind of grew up half time in California and the rest from like the middle school years on here in northern Idaho. So anyway, I say all of that because it really plays into our story. We were, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've got a few businesses that we did, over the years. And one of them was a brick and mortar office furniture dealership in California. And that's where we had employees and a space and trucks. And it was kind of a relocation for, the panel systems, cubicles.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of that in that area. And we were just so burnt out. The kids were getting older. We had talked about moving. And so anyway, that business was just killing us. And at the same time, our real estate was going bananas. We were making all this money with our real estate and working like dogs in this business that we were, we could have some years were really good. I shouldn't say it was all bad. We did that for 10 years. Anyway, my point is that we were working really hard for kind of not a big profit and with the real estate, And then the crash happened, and so we were holding a handful of houses that we were flipping, and it wasn't pretty.
Right.
It was terrible, and but we got through it, and thankfully we're still together. 27 years we've been married, and kids are all grown now. So I got in when my youngest was 17, knowing that I kind of need to open a new chapter, and there was a lot of time that took place between the failed business and the real estate investment and now. So I would say, between now and then.
And you look back on it now, and the crash was, literally 11 years ago.
I know.
And it doesn't seem like that at all. Like, it just seems like it's been so fast.
Well, it gives you a lot of, it makes, it's made us more intelligent. We make better decisions, I think, because we were kind of reckless, like a lot of people were, with, oh yeah, let's buy this house, sure, and not really do much investigation or figure out, what if things don't go right. And so anyway, it weathered us a little bit, and at the same time made us realize how important family and friends are and all of that. So in the meantime, after all that stuff, I was starting to look at online options, doing an online business, because in northern Idaho, the wages are not anywhere near what they are in California or any of the other metros, but we didn't want to live there. So that's what kind of got me on the track of looking at, doing something for myself. We still wanted to do our own thing. But so anyway, I've done a few ventures, and I've learned a lot, and a lot I will tell you, a lot of it I've learned from you guys, just listening to this podcast. Yeah. And just the mindset behind putting things out there that are attracting the people that you want to attract. And so I've put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, so tell me about now then. Yeah, what's your focus right now in your real estate business? How does that work right now?
Yeah, so now that I'm 2 years in, when I first started, I kind of decided, okay, I'm going to just try everything. And it's very different, this business, than coming from trying to do things online and get all these leads and turn, I was kind of dabbling with sales letters, and I got, what's that lead one? Anyway, there, I've dabbled in too many areas probably for my own good. So I just figured, I'm going to, because this is so different. This is one-on-one.
Yes.
My broker, we're really big on building relationships. And so rather than send an email out to however many are on your list, 5,000 or 10,000, it's like, I'm going to sit all morning and have coffee with people, like one person at a time. Are you kidding? So, and it's actually been good, because it's kind of shown me a whole different avenue of and the importance of building an actual relationship and not a fake relationship online.
Yeah, you're right on. Have you? I don't know if you know this, that I have a podcast called Listing Agent Lifestyle, and it's exclusively about real estate. And we have a approach to it that's kind of different. It's the whole, everything I've been doing for 30 years here condensed into this philosophy of, kind of a manifesto of this listing agent lifestyle. And we have 8 elements of the listing agent lifestyle that are kind of the way, a model for building a business that uses all the online stuff, uses all the marketing things that we talk about, but is sort of a listing centric approach to building your real estate business. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to simulcast this episode on More Cheese, Less Whiskers and on Listing Agent Lifestyle, because I think that the things I'm going to share with you here are going to be, really helpful from what I saw on the things that you sent in about what you're focused on.
Mm-hmm.
But the first, I'll just quickly tell you what the elements are so that we can kind of go down. And so I kind of overlay this on any business. And the first element is that if we're going to build a listing-centric business, you've got to have a systematic way of getting listings that doesn't involve cold calling and chasing FSBOs and expireds and doing all of the manual prospecting stuff. We want to have a systematic way that gets people to call you to come and list their house in a very specific area where you want to focus. And I know you mentioned, golf course communities as a primary focus for you. So we'll talk about that in a second. Then the next element is what we call multiplying your listings. And that means that whenever you get a listing, it comes with multiple opportunities for transactions rather than just the one transaction of, putting it in the MLS, letting somebody else sell it and collecting the listing commission. You've also got an opportunity to find the buyer for it. You've got a chance to find a buyer who buys another property, even though you met them from the marketing you were doing from that one listing. You've got the opportunity to get another listing in the neighborhood where you just had that one, or that one of the buyers that might lead to a listing so they can buy that house. And you've got an opportunity to get a referral from the seller. And so what we do, we have something we call our listing multiplier index. And so we take the last 10 listings that you've had, and we look at, out of all of those listings, how many transactions were you able to generate out of those possible 50 points, right? 5 transaction opportunities per listing. And when we do it with most people, what we find is that they end up with somewhere between 8 and 15 transactions out of 50 that they possibly could have gotten. And we take that number and we divide it by 10 to get an index. So if it's, if you had if you got 12 out of the 50 potential opportunities that you had, divide that by 10 and your listing multiplier index is 1.2. So that means that every time you take a listing in your current system, whatever you're doing right now around all of your listings, it will turn into 1.2 transactions. And so even just looking at that number and knowing that number for yourself, and then looking forward to the next 10 listings, we've had people raise from, a listing multiplier index of 1 to over 3.5 now. And that makes a big difference, especially when you're thinking that each one of those transaction sides is worth, $10,000 or more, depending on what your price range is. So that's a really big focus for us. If you're just looking back at your system, is that kind of a focus for you, or do you see that you mostly get the listings sold, or that you're trying to orchestrate multiple transactions?
So I would love to do that. I love that mindset, and I think mostly what I've done so far is not what I want to be doing. And so in the very first year, I was just trying to learn the business, right? Like, how does this work? And so I just tried everything. And, probably a little over a year. And then the second year, I got a little more tactical, I guess, and created a relocation guide that I produced myself and had it printed. I printed up with several copies, and I put it I get it out everywhere I can. I do chamber events, and I put it in the visitor center here in town. This is a resort town, so there's a lot of people looking to move to the area. So that I've done. So guess what I attracted? Well, I attracted buyers, right?
Right.
So almost all of my transactions have been buyers, which I don't hate, but it is more work,
Right.
And I don't have all the other opportunities that you just mentioned with a listing that I do with a buyer. It's kind of
right.
I have had referrals, that for sure has happened, but it's all been buyers for the most part. So I really this year am working toward getting a better strategy of focusing on listings. And so I've been looking at, okay, what could I put out there for the people that that I want to work with, the type of home, whether it's a golf course home, a waterfront home. We live in a lake community, so there's a lot of waterfront communities. So anyway, that's
then you're going to love this. So so we have a whole program called Getting Listings, and that's exactly what we focus on, is getting listings without making cold calls, without we've got a whole direct response system that you can choose an area. That's what we kind of focus on. And we have postcards and newsletters and a whole follow-up system to go with them. Now, if you were to say, let me kind of look at your marketplace here of where the opportunity might be. You mentioned a couple of things that are, just made me perk up, which I love. Lakefront homes, for one, and golf course homes, which are both categories that you can really make an impact in, because most people are not thinking about it this way. Now, you've proven that you can use a system like what we're talking about to generate buyers, because you have been doing the relocation guide, which is generating the buyers. And that's typically what happens, is you get what you put out there, right? Like that's completely geared. If you're looking for relocation buyers, you're going to get them. So now
I'm laughing, Dean, because I spent so much time on this thing. I mean, literally way over a month. And it looks great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I get all these, compliments and whatever, because it's really good. But it dawned on me. I mean, I literally, it's like it didn't even hit me until, I'm marketing this thing. I'm handing it out. And I'm like, who am I after? Well, I would love to get listings. Well, this is not a piece that someone who's about to list their house wants to have. I mean,
right.
So it took me a while, but I get it.
But this is, you've got that as a valuable asset. That was the very first thing that I did as a direct response, my introduction to direct response. The very first cool thing that I did in real estate was create a relocation guide for Halton Hills, where I was in Toronto. And, that system is still the foundation of what we do on the finding buyers side. You've got that now in place, right? which is great. How many buyers have you generated? Buyer prospects have you generated from that?
So actual buyers, probably I would say 4 or 5. And prospects, countless. And so one of the things that I was having a hard time with is I know what I should be doing, and with capturing the leads and getting their information. And it was getting so complicated. I had this thing done. I just wanted to get it out there. So I put it up on my website for free. No email thingy required. No, nothing.
Right.
Just because I wanted to get it out there, and so that's kind of where I'm at. So I can't really tell you how many leads I've captured, or that people have called me directly from that. But I will say my last deal was over $1 million, and it was because of that guide.
Oh yeah, no, and the great news is that asset that you have now is going to be an evergreen thing for you. Slightly updated. I've been using a model like that now for 27 years, right? So it's still a foundational tool. Now, I'm going to put a little twist on it for you here. So if we were to wave a magic wand and say, let's just look at the lakefront homes. How many lakefront homes do you think there are in your market area where you are in Coeur d'Alene?
Total? I have no idea. To answer your question, I have no idea.
Okay. Do you think it would be, is it dozens? Is it hundreds? Is it thousands?
Oh no, it would be, it's for sure hundreds, maybe up to 8,000. But no, I don't think 1,000. Hundreds.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And is that one of the most desirable things in Coeur d'Alene? Is that what people would really want, lakefront homes?
So it's one of the things, but the other really big important thing, because we're in a 4 seasons area, meaning we have snow and ice and ice storms and all that. Some of these properties are really hard to get to and not accessible year round. So the other very desirable thing is to be in what we call in town, right? So drivable to downtown Coeur d'Alene, or not 15 minutes out where there's no grocery stores, no gas stations.
Right. What's the population of Coeur d'Alene? Just I'm trying to get a sense of the scope of this.
Yeah, it's about 50,000-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not huge, and our feeder markets are, Spokane is about 250,000 people.
Yeah, and how far is that?
30 minutes.
Okay. So, but you're primarily focused on Coeur d'Alene. That's your primary market.
Purely focused on Coeur d'Alene. So there's other lakes in the area. There's a lot of lakes. Yeah. There's Hayden Lake. There's Spokane River, which is kind of near Coeur d'Alene. But Coeur d'Alene has a golf course here and between the golf course and the resort, which is owned by the same entity, the floating green, there's a lot of PR stuff that goes on because of the golfing. And so when people outside of our area hear of Coeur d'Alene, they don't hear North Idaho. They don't know very much about Hayden or Post Falls, but they know about Coeur d'Alene.
Okay. And what about the golf course homes? Are there more of those than the lakefront homes?
So we have a handful of communities that are kind of golf and lake communities. So actually my next, I've been debating, I haven't created it yet, but I've put it in my vision that I wanted to create a guide, one of two things, either a golf and lake community guide, so a guide to golf and lake communities in and around Coeur d'Alene. But I feel like that might be a little too nichey, and so I haven't done it.
Let's talk about it. So would those be the luxury? Would the luxury homes be in that category?
Yes, they could be.
So, and what would be the price range average? Like, what are we talking about?
So we also have a lot of condos here. That's becoming a thing because there's a lot of snowbirds. And so if you're right in downtown Coeur d'Alene, that's not a golf community, but you've got condos ranging from minimum 350 up into 3 million. And it's like those are few and far between. Anything over $1 million, is there's not a lot of activity. And overall, our market here, it's kind of smallish. As far as the majority of activity is all under 500,000 in general in our whole county, but 7%, it's only about 7% of transactions are over. I think it's 650 or more. But I want to, that is my hope, is to kind of dominate that 7%.
Well, that's fine. And we can definitely do that. And what I'm trying to see is where those homes would be. Would they mostly be in those golf and lake communities? Is that or would a good portion of them be there?
A lot of them that turn are downtown or near downtown. So yes, there's so many different little communities. Some are hard to get to, and so I don't really want to go very far out.
Right, exactly.
Is my max.
So if we were to say, pick the area there that would fit as golf and lake, how many homes could we get to there? What would be the number of homes?
So if I did golf and lake communities, then I have to that's why I was saying I wasn't sure about niching down that far, because
that's why we want to talk about niching it down.
If I stick with my directive of wanting to stay within 15 minutes of downtown CDA, then that eliminates some of those golf and lake communities that are about an hour away north of me towards Sandpoint, Idaho. It's a great community. I love the idea of it, but it's just too far.
Right.
And so that breaks us, gets us down into just a handful. Hold on one sec. Gosser, Black Rock, the club at Rock Creek, and then a handful of golf course homes in town, but that would not be luxury homes. They're kind of like built in the 70s and 80s. And so I would say maybe 5 or 6 golf communities, and hold on one sec. I'm guessing, I would have to look at this. This is an interesting conversation, though. Yeah. Probably under 200 homes, I would say.
Okay. So if we combined the golf course homes and the lake homes, that would be certainly maybe right around 1,000 is what we could get to. Would that be what you're saying?
I'm saying if I stick to just my area and just golf course and lake homes, it's probably, well, now waterfront's different, but if we're saying golf and lake communities, I would say under 200 homes within my little region.
Okay. And so I guess what I was saying is expanding beyond just the ones that are both golf and lake. If you expanded to say lake that maybe are outside of the golf course too, but it's still that category that's
so kind the waterfront. You're saying waterfront. Gotcha. Then yes, that would open up a lot more.
Okay. So let's look at that. And the reason that I'm looking this way is that we want to focus. One of the things that we talk about is setting you up to be a market maker. And what I mean by a market maker is that we can focus on both sides of the transaction here. So you know that when you put out a relocation guide, what you get are people who are looking to relocate. And I'm going to tell you that if we put out a golf course and lake or waterfront home guide, that what we're going to find are people who are looking for golf properties or waterfront properties. And so now with that in our, on one side of this, if we can go on the listing side of this and run, do the Getting Listings program, offering those people who own those waterfront and golf course homes the report on waterfront and golf course house prices, that would be a big win, right? That now what we're looking for is that we know who those people are, and that we are, just like we're generating this pool of golf course and waterfront buyer prospects, we're generating a pool of waterfront and golf course home owners who are listing prospects. And now we've got this silent market that we're able to match people up, even without sometimes their homes being on the market. And that's a really valuable position to be in. So if we look at this, from a, I loved that you were talking about Seth Godin's idea of a minimum viable audience, right? That's
dream.
Really what
that's
what we're talking about. That how much turnover is there among the waterfront and golf course homes?
So I don't know.
Okay. And so one of the things that, in order to dominate this market, meaning, and that's my intention for anything, what I want you to do is to pick that market and then come into it with an intention that you're going to own that market. You're the dominant golf course and waterfront agent in Coeur d'Alene. That's going to be your position, right? And
so can I just interject one little? Remember, I said I was kind of toying with the idea of either creating this or something else. The something else was luxury. So to just focus on luxury, because then that opens up downtown Coeur d'Alene, which there's a lot of activity down there, a ton. I mean, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to exclude myself from that. And so I was thinking, do I do a separate thingy for golf?
Yes, it is. It is separate.
Okay.
And here's the thing. We're talking about narrowing your focus to a single target market, but at a time, right? We're not talking about limiting you forever, that you're only ever going to be able to sell golf course and lakefront homes. What I want you to get in the mindset of is thinking like Procter and Gamble. That, Procter and Gamble is a big company, and they have 23 individual billion-dollar brands that seem unrelated to each other, but the culmination of all of them, you're building this out here, that you've got your relocation brand established in the market right now. You've got your relocation guide. You've got, it's working. People are, it's a systematic way for people to contact you to have you help them buy the homes. We're talking about now doing this same kind of thing, because they can all run concurrently. But what we're not trying to do is water things down by making it all inclusive. And the person who's looking for a luxury home in downtown Coeur d'Alene is different than the person who's looking for a home on the lake, right? Or a golf course home. So we want to focus on they're different people, just like the people who buy Tide laundry detergent because it gets their clothes as white as possible is different than the person who buys Cheer so they can just throw everything in the laundry and not ruin it. Okay. Right? That's the focus that we're looking at for you here, is to really kind of look at Coeur d'Alene, the marketplace, in a sort of CAT scan perspective where we're slicing it up into all the individual little micro markets that make up the total market of Coeur d'Alene. So somebody who's looking for a condo specifically because they're snowbirds or they're part-time residents or they don't want a yard or they don't want to deal with all of that, that if we did the Coeur d'Alene condo guide, that's going to give us all the condo buyers, right? And if we're looking, and if you're saying that the condos in Coeur d'Alene start at $350,000, then that's a really viable market as well. Because
which is the third idea that I had.
Okay.
That I haven't
well, there we go.
Anything.
Well, there we go. You're going to love it then. That's exactly what I'm talking about, is that we want to sort of build a scalable plan that you can take over one market at a time. But that it takes that month that you took to put together your relocation guide is over. And you've got the guide and it's working and you don't have to do anything more with it. It's out and it's in orbit now. It's much easier to keep that going than it is to get it into orbit, right? And so it would be the same kind of thing. That what we're saying is that if we were to take the time to put together the minimum viable guide for the golf course and lake front or waterfront homes, that would be, and you have a nice cover, you got a great title, you've got a map, you've got the pictures of where the communities are, you put pictures of the different types of amenities and homes that are available in these golf course communities, you've got lakefront pictures, all the things that would be a dream come true information piece for people new to Coeur d'Alene who are coming there thinking, I want to get a house on a lake, or I want to get a house in a golf course community. That is really that's a wonderful thing. Then the other side of that is getting together your list. The fact is that if there are 1,000 plus or minus lakefront or waterfront and golf course homes in Coeur d'Alene within 15 minutes, your ideal target audience there. If there are 1,000 of those homes, those are the 1,000 homes. That's all there is, right? And if they have a 8% turnover rate, let's say, year over year, that means that there's going to be 80 of those homes that sell each year. Let's say they have a 5%. There's going to be 50 of them that sell each year, right? Those are all knowable numbers. You can look back and see of these 1,000 homes, once you identify them, how many of them sold in the last 12 months. And that's going to give you a pretty good indication of the normal turnover.
Right.
And so the fact is that the next 50 people are 100% certainly going to be 50 of the 1,000 homeowners in those golf course and waterfront homes. Those are the only, if your goal is to get lakefront or waterfront or golf course listings, only those people are the ones that can make that happen. Those are the only 1,000 people we need to know, right? Those are what we call visible prospects. You can definitely get that list, and you may have to individually compile it with looking at tax records and knowing that some of these people that may not be where they actually live. They may have a tax address somewhere else, right? That you can. So if you're mailing to these people, so our Getting Listings program is about identifying the people who have the highest probability over the next 12 months to sell their house. Because what would be really valuable right now, we used to do big real estate events, and we'd have 600 or 800 people in a room every month, and I would give people in the audience an opportunity. I would say, pick somebody out in the front row, and I'd say, Michelle, I'm going to give you a choice right now. Let's imagine that this room represents an 800 home subdivision, and everybody in here owns one of the 800 homes in that subdivision. And I'm going to give you the chance to come up here, and I'll give everybody one of your business cards, and you can tell everybody, introduce yourself to everybody and tell everybody what you do, and I'll help you get your name out there to that group of people. Or you can sit right there, and I will have someone bring you an envelope, and in that envelope will be a piece of paper with the name and address of the 50 people in this room who are going to sell their house in the next 12 months. What would be more valuable?
Well, obviously, the 50.
Yes. So that's the focus that we want to have here, right? Is that we know for sure, out of all of the people in Coeur d'Alene, that only these 1,000 have the opportunity to list their waterfront or golf course home with you. So we want to focus on what would be the first thought that somebody thinking about selling their house would have. What's the first thought that runs through their mind?
What's my house worth?
How much is it worth? Exactly. Now, most of the time what people do, when most people think, okay, I want to start getting lakefront or waterfront listings, they would send out postcards that are all about you to kind of get your name out there and brand yourself as a waterfront specialist. So you might send out, a thing with you on the water with your picture and, call Michelle the waterfront specialist. All of these things kind of focused on you so that you're building top of mind awareness for people. Now, the next thing that people might do once they realize that's not really helping us identify who the people who are going to sell their house are, they may do things like find out how much your house is worth for free over the phone or for free online, or get a free evaluation of your home, right? Where it's very specific and isolated on them. And it's very, people are reluctant in a way to respond to that because, especially if they're just thinking about it, if they're just entering the process, they have been around long enough to know that that is something that I'm going to have to invite this realtor into my house, and they're going to have to, they're going to want me to list my house now, and I'm not ready for that yet. So more people will respond to that than the call Michelle and start packing ads. But the most valuable thing that you can do is to think the way that they're thinking and let them get what they want without it depending on you sort of being a part of it right now. And what I mean by that is we put together a report on lakefront and golf course house prices, so that when we send out a postcard and offer the June 2019 report on Coeur d'Alene golf course and waterfront house prices. That now seems like objective data, meaning it's what's happened. It's not your subjective opinion of what my house might be worth. I'm going to get the data on what all of the waterfront and golf course homes are selling for, and that'll give me an idea of what is going on in the market. And it sounds like that report is already done, and I can voyeur in on this without having to. I'm not saying that I'm selling my house or that I'm committing to a real estate agent right now. All I'm saying is I'm curious about this, and for most people, that curiosity is what is driven by the seed of a thought that they're going to sell their house in the next 12 months, you know?
Right. Right.
So
And I could even do that specific to a certain subdivision, or
yes.
like with the condos, you
yes.
know, some of the condos have several, dozens or.
Yes, you're right.
So I could do it just on that community. Yeah, that's okay. Perfect. And so once I do the report, I do the report. Do I make that? Let's talk about the mechanics. This is where I get kind of blocked, because I feel like I should be capturing all this information and,
of course. So
doing all this lead gen stuff. And then at the same time, it feels too complicated. I'm super busy.
I got it.
Someone calls and says, I want to see a house. And then it just all stops, right? So anyway,
well,
so what do I do from there? I got the report.
So, first of all, you should know that we have a whole community around this at gogoagent.com. So I've already done all of this creative stuff for you. So there's none of that kind of stuff needs to be, you don't need to think about how to put it all together. And we can even do all this stuff for you. But I'll walk you through the logistics of how it actually works. So we mail that postcard, and we send people to a landing page where they can leave their contact information to get the report. And when they respond, you send them the report and a cover letter. And we have a book called How to Sell Your House for Top Dollar Fast, which we personalize with your, that is coming from you. And you send that along with all of the information on all the sales in the last 12 months on the waterfront and golf course homes, and all the things that are for sale right now. So people get a sense of what is the lay of the land right now in the golf course and waterfront marketplace. Then each month we have a what we call a Get Top Dollar newsletter that we send to everybody who's responded. So let's say you mail out 1,000 postcards your first time, and 20 people respond and ask for the report. You mail out the report to those 20 people. We don't send them the postcard anymore. We take those 20 people and we move them into your prospect list now. And we send those 20 people each month a Get Top Dollar newsletter, a cover letter, and a update of everything that's happened in the last 30 days. in the waterfront and golf course market. Now, there's no phone calls to be made. We're not calling to, close people or check in on them. We're doing all of that with the cover letters and the correspondence. So the first indication that it's working is when you get a phone call from somebody who says, "Hey, we've been getting all of your correspondence." I'm going from somebody who just called in for one of our agents. We've been getting your correspondence, and we're ready to put the house on the market, and we want to get together with you over the weekend. And that is exactly how it works.
So the 20 people you're saying that respond, then you're marketing to them. You send them the report, you send them your top dollar thing, and then they get on a kind of drip campaign, like monthly?
They do. Every month, yes, every month we send the Get Top Dollar newsletter and the report and a cover letter. And we always lead to the next step. Like one of the things that we know is that at this point, when somebody asks for this, the thought that's going to come through their mind is that, okay, there's all the data, but now it's not still specifically telling them what their house is worth. And that'll be the next thing that they would want to know. If they're now getting more serious about putting their house on the market, there's going to be three different types of people. There's going to be people who they want to know the specific price, and so they can make their decisions on stuff, especially if they're going to be buying another house, or they need to know how much they're going to get for this house to make their next move, kind of thing. Then there are people who they want to get all their ducks in a row, like to prepare the house before they put it on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are going to be other people who, well, they're not quite ready right now, but they're not really in a hurry. But if you had somebody that wanted to buy it, maybe they would sell right now,
Right.
Those three motivations are what are going to drive the next step for them. So knowing that, we put together three separate offers for them. So we send the cover letter along with the update with the report and the book and all of that. But then in the cover letter, we say to people, whenever you're ready. And now those are important words. We're never trying to, convince somebody that they need to sell now because the market's hot or now's the time or whatever it is. We're giving them permission to completely control the timeline. And we're saying, whenever you're ready, here are three ways we can help you. And number one is a pinpoint price analysis, where we can show you exactly what your home would sell for compared to all the homes that are on the market right now. Then number two is a room-by-room review. We've got a booklet and a checklist where we can show you exactly what to do and not to do to get your house so it shows its best and you make the most money when you sell. Or we may be able to sell your house in as little as 24 hours without even putting it on the market with our silent market. And those three appeals are the things that drive the next steps. So if somebody calls you up and says, "Can you tell me about this silent market?" You're able to say, "Perfect. Let me pop by. We'll take a look at your house. I'll hear what you're up to. Take a look and see if it might be a fit for one of the buyers that we're already working with." Or they'll say, "I'd like to get a room-by-room review." Perfect. Let me pop by. I'll bring our room-by-room review booklet and checklist. We can go through every room, and I'll make recommendations and show you what you should and shouldn't do to get the most money when you do sell. Or they'll say, "I want to get an idea of what our house is worth." Perfect. let me pop by. I'll take a look at your house. Well, you can show me everything. I'll bring all the information, and I'll give you an idea of what it might sell for in today's market. All of those things, 3 different motivations that all lead to the same place, you know?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, this is something I'm going to say, like for you, if you listen to the first 3 episodes of the Listing Agent Lifestyle podcast, you're going to hear 3 different case study versions of how this plays out. We've been doing this for years.
Okay. Is that the name of the podcast, Listing Agent Lifestyle?
It is, yes.
Yeah. I think I've listened to something. I don't know. Dean, you're in so many different worlds, right?
I really am.
You have a lot of different things brewing, so I don't know exactly the ones that I've listened to, but I'm pretty sure I've heard 1 or 2 of these.
Maybe.
But you're saying the first 3?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first 3 will give you an example of exactly what we're talking about with the on that listing side, because I know that's the thing that's exciting for you, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And let me ask you how. So you mentioned about the postcard and follow up with the newsletter and all that.
Yeah.
How should email and social play into all of this? Is that newsletter via email only, or a hard copy, another mailing, or?
Yeah, hard copy. And we do a monthly email version of it as well, because the valuable thing where you're going to be able to, what I want to paint the picture for you is that, let's imagine that you're mailing and you're doing the Getting Listings program for those homes, and you've got 50 or 100 people who've raised their hand and asked for your report. One of the things we do is we export that data. We link that data of those addresses with a Google map layer, so that we drop a pin to show where your seller prospects are there, so you can see visually where people are. Then on that same in that same category, we've put together your guide for waterfront and golf course communities, and you've generated 100 buyer prospects who are looking for lakefront or waterfront or golf course homes, and you're sending them a weekly waterfront weekly or golf and waterfront weekly email with updates of all the new golf course and waterfront properties that come on the market each week. And you get somebody who wants to join you for one of your daily tours of golf course and waterfront properties. And they say, now you've got somebody who's very interested in looking at properties, and you're able to now look on your map and send a quick email to the people in the neighborhood where you're going. What's the name of one of the popular golf communities there?
BlackRock.
BlackRock. Okay. So you've got a buyer who's particularly interested in BlackRock. And then you look in your BlackRock, you look in your seller prospects, and you see that you've got 3 people that live in BlackRock that have responded to your postcards. And you send a quick email to them and say, hey, Michelle, I'm showing homes in BlackRock this weekend to a couple from Seattle, and they're looking for a golf course property. I remember looking up yours online when I sent you the golf course report. I'm not sure what your plans are, but I thought I'd check in and see if I could tell them about your house. It sounds like it might be a good match for these people. That's a very targeted market maker opportunity, because not only do you have now the homes that are on the market, you've got this next layer of this sellers in waiting kind of layer that only you know about. You're the only one that knows that these 50, 80, 100 people are curious and interested about maybe selling their house. That's how you take over a market like that, you know?
Okay. And so what about, so with these people that have responded, they're needing to put in their physical address, right? Mm-hmm. In order to be able to Google pinpoint them.
Yes.
Okay. What about so I have a bunch of names. Some of them I know personally, you know, and they're, I guess you would call them part of my sphere, right? Where I interact or have interacted with them in some way in the last couple years.
Yes.
And then there's other kind of people I don't really know, but I've met them once or something at an event, open house lead. You know, I've got, and then I did a golf course, a golf show. I had a booth at a show, and I've got hundreds of names from that. Like, how does all of that play into, or it's
so
just
you're
so
part
wide.
of this now. You know, I get it. That part of this, we have a whole nother strategy for that. And one of the things that we talk about is getting referrals. And so what you're talking about is the building of your sphere of people that you know, the people who would likely either do business with you or be repeat clients or refer somebody. And those, what we target are the 150 people that if you saw them at the grocery store, you'd recognize them by name and you'd stop and you'd have a conversation with them. Those are the people that we're looking for, your top 150. And we look for managing that group of people like a, you know, relationship portfolio that we're looking to manage for a 20% annual yield, meaning that our gold standard for this would be that we can generate 30 transactions from that group of 150 people.
Right. And so that is more of an intimate and actual relationship with someone. These other respondents are kind of a different category, right?
That's exactly right.
But do I totally treat them different in how I interact and send things out? And, you know, I do these market updates. I do quarterly mailings of all the stats. Is that all totally separate from?
Yeah, your strategy for your top 150 is completely different.
Okay.
Yeah, because the strategy there is that we're looking to orchestrate referrals and to, you know, generate direct or repeat business with those 150 people. And so we got a whole strategy there. And one of the tools that we use is something we call the world's most interesting postcard. And it's something where we send every month to the top 150, and it's designed to get referrals so that we're top of their mind when they hear people talking about buying or selling a house, so that they'll think of you and they'll introduce you to the person that they had the conversation with.
And so that would be, I kind of have a drip campaign that I do on a regular basis for those folks. I haven't, and these are the people I would consider my sphere. All these others that I mentioned, I haven't really had an actual strategy of, I don't know, getting in touch with them. It feels a little awkward, and I just haven't done anything. But then these like this new thing that you just mentioned about targeting by whether it's golf course communities or condos.
Yeah.
And I actually have done some condo stuff, but it was more like a shotgun approach where I just sent everybody something and it wasn't all that effective. But anyway, so am I doing different marketing tracks? It sounds like for kind of each category.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay. All right.
Yes. You got so much opportunity. It's amazing. It's awesome.
It is. And at the same time, it's like I have, all these plans. And actually, my daughter, who just gotten into my area here, is starting with me today. I'm hiring her because I can't do all of this. Wow. There's a lot of things I know I should be doing. I know how to do it, and I don't physically have the time in the day to do it. So,
right. Well, there's the thing then. So this is your great thing. So you, my prescription for you then would be to go to gogoagent.com and everything, all the playbooks that she'll need to execute all this for you are there. Everything, you've got somebody now who can implement stuff for you. That's the goal.
Right. Okay.
So
excellent.
It's been very exciting.
I feel like I have some other questions, and now I can't remember.
Well, yeah, I mean, think that through, in terms of what the questions are. You'll see, if you go there, you'll see all of the, we've got a start here section, so you can see like all of those things that we talked about, and that will bring up even more clarity for you, certainly. It might answer some of the questions you have, but then we have a message forum, and we've got coaches and everybody available to answer any questions they have about it.
Okay, perfect.
It's been delightful.
Well,
it's been delightful.
It's been great to chat with you.
Yes. So I will look for you, and I will connect with you there.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks
so
Michelle.
much, Dean.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And there we have it. Another great episode. Thanks for listening in. If you want to continue the conversation, we'll go deeper in how the 8 Profit Activators can apply to your business. 2 things you can do. Right now, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com and you can download a copy of the More Cheese Less Whiskers book, and you can listen to the back episodes, of course, if you're just listening here on iTunes. Secondly, the thing that we talk about in applying all of the 8 profit activators are part of the breakthrough DNA process. And you can download a book and a scorecard and watch a video all about the 8 profit activators at breakthroughdna.com. And that's a great place to start the journey in applying this scientific approach to growing your business. That's really the way we think about Breakthrough DNA, as an operating system that you can overlay on your existing business and immediately look for insights there. So that's it for this week. Have a great week, and we will be back next time with another episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers.